Good evening. We have a quorum? We do? Okay. Good evening. Welcome to the September 6th, 2023 regular session of the Board of Public Utilities Board of Directors. I'd like to welcome everybody who's here in person, all who are viewing or listening online. And please, this is a reminder that this meeting is being recorded by audio and video. I'd like to remind everybody there are very sensitive microphones around the room, so please be mindful of that. They can pick up and record any communication that is occurring. As always at our board meetings, there is a public comment section. If you are attending tonight via Zoom, please use the raise hand feature on the app. If you are here in the room and you would like to speak to the board, please use the sign-up sheet that's over here at the Executive Assistance Desk. Each member of the public who wishes to speak, please provide your name and address. We would ask that you direct your comments to the board only, and you have a maximum of 5 minutes to speak. A reminder that all comments made here are made public. The board does caution anyone wishing to speak not to disclose confidential information about your account, and also not to disclose any account information about an account that is not in your name. Staff will not be able to provide individual account information or history in an open meeting for the same confidentiality reasons. As always, members of the public may call or email the BPU with questions or concerns. Tonight's agenda and presentations may be found on the BPU website on the board meetings tab, and if you're using Zoom, they will appear on your screen. This is a reminder that this is a business meeting of the Board of Directors, and we will conduct the meeting accordingly. The following rules apply to this meeting. Every person in this room will act respectfully toward one another. Personal attacks and accusations toward any person will not be tolerated. Please state your specific issue or question to the board only. Attendees shall refrain from side discussions and individual commentary that may interfere with speakers or other attendees at this meeting. If side discussions are necessary, we would ask that you please take them outside of the boardroom. If any of the above rules are breached during this meeting, the individual breaching those rules is subject to removal from this boardroom. I am Rose Mulvaney Henry, member at large, position 3, and I'm the current board president. Other members of our board and staff include Mr. Bill Johnson, general manager, Senator David Haley, member at large, position 2, Tom Groneman, 2nd district and current board vice president, Mr. Bob Mylan, 1st district and current board secretary, Mary Gonzalez, member at large, position 1, and Angela Lawson, our acting chief counsel. Remind everyone, please, to put your phones on silent. Before we begin our meeting, I'd ask that you join me and rise and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Angela, may I get a roll call, please?
Roll call. Mylan,
Present here.
Mulvaney Henry,
Here.
Bryant, Gonzalez,
Here.
Groneman,
Here.
Haley.
Present.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Before I ask for a motion to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting, I would ask if there are any corrections or edits that need to be made to it. Hearing none.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve the agenda for this evening has been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Roll call. Mylan,
Aye.
Mulvaney Henry,
Aye.
Gonzalez,
Aye.
Groneman,
Aye.
Haley.
Aye.
That motion carries.
Thank you. Before I ask for a motion to approve the minutes of the work session of August 16th, 2023, I will ask if there are any corrections or edits that need to be made. Hearing none.
Move to approve the minutes of the work session of August 16th.
Mullin, second.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Roll call. Mylan,
Aye.
Mulvaney Henry,
Aye.
Gonzalez,
Aye.
Groneman,
Aye.
Haley.
Aye.
That motion carries.
Thank you. Before I ask for a motion to approve the minutes of the regular session of August 16, 2023, I'll ask if there are any corrections or edits that need to be made. Hearing none.
So moved. Mullin,
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Roll call. Mylan,
Aye.
Mulvaney Henry,
Aye.
Gonzalez,
Aye.
Groneman,
Aye.
Haley.
Aye.
That motion carries.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, Madam President. We do have a guest speaker here tonight. Let me back up. So first, is there anyone signed up? Okay. Rob, is there anyone signed up to speak tonight? All right, thank you. Now, well, we have a guest speaker tonight.
Whoops.
Hold on, Bill.
Okay. So if you can identify your name and address for the record, please.
Hello?
We can hear you.
Oh, so it is me you're recognizing. My name is Beth Cyperson, 4535 Cambridge Street, KCK. I just have a question for a general, well, information, but is this the time to ask any question relevant to electric, electric policy and such?
Rob, is there any way you can adjust the audio? Miss, can you speak a little bit louder into your microphone,
Yeah.
please?
Yes, I'm so sorry. Can you hear me now?
A little bit better.
Oh, okay. Let me get up and move to another location, perhaps. I have a question regarding the Panasonic plant and possible electric rates. I just preface that to say, is this the time for any public questions? And that was going to be where my query lay. Is this the appropriate time to ask a question?
Yes, ma'am. This is Rose Mulvaney Henry. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead and ask your question.
Okay, well, I've been reading in the paper and such in the past news, being that it's a state of Kansas tax-supported or project. I've been reading how Evergy was going to be requesting tax rates, pardon me, electric rates in different counties and such. And either I've overlooked it or surprisingly, perhaps BPU wasn't going to have to raise because of the substations being built and the enormity of the demand of this power. And interestingly, being an EV, this battery and new alternative energy, it's a humongous plant. And I'm seeing this giant concrete box. Are there no solar panels, wind turbine, anything to support and lessen the demand, number one? And number two, does BPU have any taxing plan to support some additional monies or however that is being done? If Evergy needs to raise rates, does BPU as a county in Kansas? Thank you very much.
Ms. Cyberson, this is Rose Mulvaney Henry again, and just to answer your question as succinctly as I can this evening, the Board of Public Utilities, as I'm sure you're aware, operates only in Kansas City, Kansas,
Right.
and well, and part of our water department operates in the city of Oglesville, but and we actually, in the month of June of 2023. We just went through a rate hearing here at BPU, and BPU's rates were increased as a result of it in July. I believe it's July is when we increased the rates here. And I don't recall anything, and I'm looking at our CFO right now, but I don't recall anything in any of the study that was done to support the rate increase, nor the testimony that supported it that had any correlation whatsoever to the Panasonic battery plant.
So
And
nothing going forward. That's what I'm saying. In other words, again, I'm reading from the newspaper and such, and with plans that Evergy was going to be asking for in the coming, I guess, year. And I'll just, be succinct because that you're not Evergy. But if it is a state, that's why I was wondering with Wyandotte County, are they also going to be asked to support this? So it's not previous, it would be something in the coming year. The plant won't open for, I don't know when, but for a while.
yeah,
So I don't know how that was going to be calculated and such. I mean, you must be aware, you're certainly aware of the plant, or you would want jobs perhaps and whatever. So do we have to have a piece of a cost pie? How is it going to affect us? If I can know that Wichita is going to, get a higher rate, and so is my neighbor who's just, I live just a block from Johnson County, Westwood Hills and so forth. So what, what do we, you must know that Wyandotte County is going to be hit by a certain amount, or you have to share the cost in some way. So it wouldn't have happened already. It would be something in the coming year. You know that it's down the road.
yeah. And Ms. Iverson, and you are at your 5-minute time, but I will respond to that last part of it.
Okay, and thank you. That's
You,
it.
you bet. As you know, the BPU does not levy taxes. So that component of it is out. And our rate hearing that we just went through would have satisfied our rates through the year 2027, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And so
Okay.
that was not anticipated. That will not be anticipated at any time, at least in the next 3 to 4 years.
Okay, thank you very much. I so appreciate.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Rob, is there anyone else waiting to speak? Yes, no? Okay, thank you. All right, we'll move on to Marnie, if you want to start us off. This is Marnie Morgan. She comes here, I think, about every year.
I think so.
I think there was a break around
A
COVID.
few virtually
Right.
when we were doing that, but I am here again, and I want to thank you for having us this evening. My name is Marnie Morgan. I am the Executive Director of 2020 Leadership. And tonight I have with me Caitlin Wells, who represents our schools on the Kansas side that we program with. I also have 2 Board of Directors members with us this evening, Rich Rasdell and Tom Boding. So want to thank everyone for joining us. We may have another staff member come in. A couple of our students had car trouble, so she's helping them navigate that. So Heather may be coming in as well. On behalf of the Board of Directors, our staff, and over 4,500 students, I'm really here this evening to briefly thank you for your long-term support of our program. We brought a great group of students again to share their experiences with you. And so I don't want to take too much of their time. I want them to shine this evening, but I want to say that 2022-23 was an amazing year for us. One where we served nearly 800 students. One where we piloted a middle school program at the request of some foundations. And also one where the large majority of our seniors left our program with a written plan for how they were going to reach their dreams after high school. And so we were really excited about that. And I left some things on your desks that you can look at later. As you know, I'm very proud that we have very strong documented outcomes. And I wanted you all to have those in front of you this evening. So you'll see again, 100% of our students graduated from high school if they had been involved in our program for at least 2 years. About 90% have gone on to do something else after high school, whether that's trade school or 2-year college, 4-year college. We're sending students off to gather more training for their futures, as always, after high school. And also, my favorite And I think you're going to hear a little bit about that from these folks tonight. Not over 90% of our students say they are very confident they can reach the goals they have set for themselves after high school. And if you know youth development, you know what that means in terms of likelihood for success. So we're very proud of those things. We're very excited about the upcoming year. We've got some new things planned that we may invite you all to join us if you're interested. One is that we're going to host networking. You guys might not even know this. They're going to be excited about this. We're hosting a professional networking luncheon where they will get a business etiquette training and they will have the opportunity to sit in tables with professionals like yourself and learn how you would network in that kind of environment. We're also adding a resource night where families and seniors can come and get one-on-one support writing scholarships, writing resumes, and that sort of thing. So lots of great things happening because of what people like you do. And that's why we're here this evening, is to thank you for that and give you a chance to talk to some students that have been in the program. Tonight, we have 4 with us right now from different stages in their career with us. So we have sophomores, juniors, and seniors here to speak to you this evening. So I will turn it over to them.
Just wanted to let you know I will be attending those. Those sound super cool. All right, let's get started. My name is Nathan Herr. I'm from Turner High School. I'm a junior, so I got 1 more year here. And I really just wanted to say that 2020 leadership really helped me with my confidence in myself. Because when I joined freshman year, I was a pretty meek guy. I was very reserved and quiet. But as I got into 2020 leadership, I think I really got that ball rolling with my confidence in myself and just socializing with other people in general. And I think if I didn't have this program along with me, I wouldn't have become the great person that I am today. So I think I really just am grateful that I was able to be here in this moment. And when I got the email to attend this meeting and tell you guys about how great this program is, I was kind of overjoyed. I'm gonna be honest, because like I'm a bragger. I love talking about myself and my experiences. So yeah. Main point is just help me overall. If I didn't have this program, I wouldn't be who I am. So great.
Good job.
Thank you.
Senator Haley, you're gonna need Nathan up in Topeka.
Hello, everybody. My name is Javier Ochoa Rodriguez. I'm from Wyandotte High School, and I'm a senior now. And I joined 2020 leadership my junior year. And I don't want to say I was shy or anything, but I know I wasn't as confident as I am now, thanks to 2020 leadership. An experience that really hit me was Junior Olympics, where I had to come up with a presentation and present it to everybody in 2020 leadership. And that project really made me think critically and boosted my confidence. And overall, it was just such a great experience because thanks to that just opened so many opportunities for me. Like during the summer, I was selected to attend San Francisco with another organization called Gear Up for a leadership conference. So thanks to that previous experience I had gotten from 2020 leadership, I am now in so many opportunities that I never imagined I would be. So thanks to 2020 leadership, I am just very grateful for the opportunities they have given me, and for the person I am now, I'm thankful for them. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is John Gwynn. I'm a sophomore at Washington High School. And I would like to say that 2020 leadership is it's a very good program. You know, it's a good opportunity to meet different people, you know, people you never met before. You get to meet your peers, you know, you get to know different people your age, different people that's older than you. You get to know more about them that you didn't know before, or that just exploring the opportunities of meeting different people. And I would say that one of my favorite experiences in being in 2020 leadership was a field trip we took to go to Memorial Hall. It was in the lower area of Memorial Hall, and I got to listen to this man. His name is Cameron Morgan. He's the forensic analyst for the Kansas City, Kansas Police Department. And he was just talking about giving back to the community, you know, what he does for the community and stuff like that. And I think that, you know, 2020 leadership is a great opportunity if you want to listen to people that, you know, do great for the community. You know, people like you, people like Cameron Morgan. And I think that if you are in high school or, you know, if you're just coming in, then you should join 2020 leadership.
And John, did you know Cameron went through this program as well?
I did. I knew that he was an alumni in this program.
Hello, my name is Gabrielle Horton. I'm a senior at Piper High School. And something that I took away from 2020 leadership is like learning that I have a voice at my school. So I didn't know that there was opportunities for implement change or to like just put like my own image on my school or help make it better. So I really liked how when we had a project, we were able to talk to our principal and like make a whole PowerPoint and present it to like a whole bunch of people who would actually listen to me and take my opinions into consideration. My school doesn't have like a lot of opportunities for like real world learning and like real world connections or like just chances to go out into our community and just be a part of Kansas City. So I really liked that our field trips allowed us to be like more expressive and like explore more of our options and just to see where we live. And I would like to thank you guys for your support and this opportunity because it meant a lot to me.
The other two just came in. Is it okay if they hop up real fast?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Hi, my name is Brielle Jefferson. I'm a junior at Sumner Academy. For me, 2020 leadership, it really broadened my horizons on what I could see as a career where I want to go to college. For us, we went on a lot of panels for different jobs. We went to sort of the business side of the Royals and we went to a law firm, I think. And it just really made me think more about where I could work and what my future could look like. And for me, that means a lot. And it really helped me just think about my future. And I wouldn't have been able to do that without them. So I really appreciate everything that they've done for me. Just, you know, make me think more about my future and take it more seriously.
Hello, my name is Anthony. I'm a junior at Sumner. 2020 leadership has let me explore more of the KC area. Like before, I've only lived in KC for about 5 years, but after 2020, I've been able to see the Kauffman Stadium, a law firm. I've been able to make connections with other schools, other baseball players, other people who wish to become engineers. And it's honestly helped to narrow down my college search, made it a lot easier. And I'm just very grateful for all the things 2020 has done for me.
Again, I hope that gives you a perspective on how we're preparing students to be career literate, career ready, and also to be prepared to give back to this Kansas City, Kansas community. I gave you a new handout that has the scholarship, the Royal Scholarship winners for this year. And if you notice, you'll see some familiar schools on that if you flip it over. And one of the things I hope you get from reading these quotes from these students is that they want to give back to this community. And that's certainly something that we're very proud of. So thank you for having us here tonight. And if anyone has questions for the students or myself, we're happy to answer them.
Thanks, Martin. I don't have any questions, but I'm absolutely blown away by, you know, this is, I guess now my third year where one of them was remote, but where your students have come in. And you guys are just the best reflection of Wyandotte County. You just are. I wish everybody in the whole community could watch this tonight. I know this is available online and I'm going to push this particular meeting out so the rest of Wyandotte County can get the small glimpse and meet you guys like we have. Thank you guys for taking time and coming tonight. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes, I just echo what Rose said. It's one of my all-time favorite programs to sit here and listen to these young people really express themselves so well. Thank you for coming.
Anything else? Thank you.
Marty, you got a couple of questions.
Oh.
So remind us again, at what age can a student
Sure.
become part of 2020 leadership? And then I know through graduation, through the senior class, I think they'll move on through their college years, but first, when can they first become eligible to join?
Sure, yeah, so students can join as freshmen.
Okay.
And then we actively program with them all 4 years of high school.
Okay.
You'll see in the data that I gave you that we do have a high desire for retention.
Right.
So students that have been in it, about I think 90% say, yeah, I'm going to join next year. We lose some of them because they move around, but our retention rates are really high. And we also do a lot of programming with our students that have recently graduated as well. So a lot of one-on-one work by our staff to help students, especially post-COVID, navigate what's going on at college or what's going on in new jobs. So we do a lot of one-on-one work with students after high school as well. So just lots going on through all of those years. And we know if we have students for at least 2 years, the outcomes really shoot up in terms of confidence and likelihood to go on and do other things. So. And for one thing that I think is interesting about our target population is I looked at the data from our last year's freshman class when they enrolled, and over 60% of them, we were the only thing they were active in high school. And as you can tell, like you're talking to, that's not the case, you know, for all of our students. So for most of our students, we're the first thing they decide to take a chance on. And so I think that speaks a lot to what you're investing in as well.
I think if my memory is correct, you did bring either you or Marilyn brought a student back that had already gone through the program or maybe in college and came back to speak. So how far do you go in terms of tracking their success rates beyond high
So
school?
we're working hard on that. We have an alumni committee of our board that's kind of met, I think, this week to try to make sure we're doing a good job of tracking down. We do survey our alumni every couple of years, and that data's in there. So I think around upper 60% say that regardless of where they are in their career, that this program's still having an impact. I also did a data pool this year through National Clearinghouse just to see where our students were from that like 18-19 graduating class, because I was a little concerned with COVID, like, great, we got them to something, but are they still there? And you'll see that like 84%, it looks like, I think I'm just, that's off the top of my head, we're, you know, still in that process of pursuing their education. So we're super happy about that, given that, you know, kind of risk of COVID and what that did to our students. So.
And then last question is this is more for the students.
Yeah.
If you just show of hands, I think you said something earlier about they kind of know where they're going with their career. So how many of you guys have identified what college you're going to go to already? And then who's made up your mind on what career path you're going to pursue?
So those are your seniors and
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm good. What? You guys gotta get back up.
So I've been thinking about K-State because I want to be a civil engineer. Well, I've narrowed it down to two, civil engineering and mechanical engineering.
Right.
But I think I'm heading towards more civil engineering just because of the aspects. And then I'm heading towards K-State because of their engineering program. I've done some research and there's just so much good things I've also heard about them. So I'm still keeping my options open, but K-State is probably the university I'm heading to.
Well, I
Don't,
hope when you
don't forget about the
graduate that you-
internships now of
Internships
BPU.
as well, yes,
Yeah, I hope you consider the BPU as a place of employment when you come back.
hopefully.
I think we do have one engineer from your program, Marnie, that got hired a couple of years ago. I feel like he was here last year. I can't say his name right now, but Jeremy.
And then he's a K-State graduate with electrical engineering. For the summer. He went back to K-State, did the co-op program, with the company in New Jersey. Came back to K-State, had one semester to finish. We worked in at the same time as he was finishing his semester, Gabe Pappert.
Yeah, Gabe Pappert.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy.
He works out on Darren's team and the substation.
We'll connect them. That'll be a good network.
I plan on going to KU in the spring 2024. I am graduating this year, and for my major, I am doing management and leadership. But business, I can really just do pretty much anything. So I'm really glad it's flexible. And if I get to double major, I'll consider like finance or economics. I do plan on studying abroad and like, expanding my culture, my cultural knowledge and just like my language and everything. So,
You do realize you're gonna have to turn in that Piper purple, right? For Crimson and Blue, which I'll be grateful for you. So a lot of other people are real happy you keep wearing purple, but I'm good with that. That's awesome.
I plan on going to KU or K-State to study aerospace science and science of flight to pursue being a United States Air Force pilot, fighter pilot.
Okay.
And I think that'd be a very good career path for me because that's it's a childhood dream. It's something I've been looking forward to since I was really, really young. I was just, look up and see planes in the sky, be like, oh, I want to do that. I want to fly. That, especially if I can do it for my country, then it would be very nice to do. And I feel like KU or K-State would be one of the best colleges to go to because of their ratings, because of how close they are, to the area that we live in, that I live in. Yeah, thank you.
That's noble and fantastic. Thank you.
Good plan.
Thank you.
Very good plan.
Yeah, I got no idea where to go, but but I do know I want to go into the business kind of niche. I feel like that would be great for my personality and my skill set. And one dream that I've always had deep inside me is to do entrepreneurship. I feel like that's something that really calls to me. Yeah, that's about it.
Nathan, if you're not selling something at some point, you've missed your calling, friend.
That's what I'm saying. Like I get to
Selling
try.
yourself pretty well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anything else?
Thank you again.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having us.
All
Oh,
right.
yep.
Yes. I'll be remiss if I didn't identify my position with this program. I am the initial board member that introduced this program along with the initial secretary, director, Marilyn Austin, who was my secretary, Department of Labor. So I'm the one that sponsored this program from day one. This is
Amazing.
my last year on the board. I just want the public to know that I started this program. I'm proud of this program. I initiated the program. Thank God I was able to do that. Good
Thank
luck
you.
in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. That's it. Thank
Marty.
you.
Thank you again. Look forward to seeing you again next year.
Sure.
Okay. Next on the agenda on the GM staff reports, I'll ask Lori Austin to come up for July 2023 financials.
Thanks, Tom.
Hey, Lori, I'm sorry you have to follow that. I know. Need that one guy to do the financials.
Well, you can sell it.
Yeah, he can sell. Very good, yeah. Okay, so these are July 2023 financials.
just to give you an idea of where we are at through July on our electric usage. Overall, we're down in comparison to 2022 by about 1.6%. Our residential is down 4%, while our industrial is also down around 2%. Commercial is up slightly, just a little bit, around 1%. So, and this is June usage that's being billed through July. The next slide looks at our water usage. Our residential and commercial are above our 2022 levels, while our industrial is still down below. We're about 3.3% above 22 overall. Residential's up 5% and commercial's also up 5%. Our revenues just for the month of July compared to 2022, we're down about 5.5%. Compared to our budget for the month, we're up in both electric and water, and the combined around 4%. So our electric is up 3%, while our water is up 9%. Our revenues for year to date, we're up above 2022 levels in both electric and water, and overall about 4.3%. While the budget, we're also up above our 23 budget by about 4.2%. The electric, some of the categories there, so residential is about 380,000 above. Commercial is pretty strong. So far, we're about 7.7 million above, and our industrial is about 750,000 above. On the water side, residential's up about 500,000, commercial's up about 590,000. Our operating expenses for the month of July, down in comparison to 2022 levels by about 7.3%. We are up over our budget for the month, overall about 4%. The electric is up about 6%, while the water side is down about 7%. Year to date, operating expenses are above 2022 levels by about 8% overall. Compared to our budget, we are up about 3.4%. Our electric is up about 5%. Our water is down about 6%. And just a reminder there that we've fully collected our ERC under recovery from our third and fourth quarter of 2022 as of June. Looking at our operating expenses, less depreciation. Comparison to 2022, we're up about 7.6%. Compared to our budget, we're up about 3.6%. Electric is up. And also water is down in comparison to our budget. So some of the categories there, purchase power, we're up about 830,000. Our fuel is down about 6.3 million. Our production is up about 850,000. While T&D is down 2 million, and general administrative is also down about 1.3 million. On the water side, each of the categories are below their budget. 770,000 on the production side, about 390 on the T&D side, and about 230,000 on the general administrative side. Our change in net position for the end of July, we're at a positive 10.10 million. We had projected to be about 9.3 million. On the electric side, we projected to be about an 8.2 million positive, and we're at 8.3, while the water side is a 1.1 positive budget with the actual of 1.7 million. Year to date, our current year is about 15.4 million on a combined basis compared to 12.2 from a budget. The electric is 10.1 million versus 9.7 million. And water is 5.2 million actual against 2.5 million budget. Our 10-year trend, thankfully, revenues are above expenses there, so 187.2 million in revenue. And this includes both operating and non-operating expenses, so it's 177.1 of expenses. So that nets out to about 10.1 million positive. On the water side, we have about 30.7 million in revenue, about 26.1 million in expenses there, so about 5.2 million net of revenue and expenses. We look at our average day collections, so we're averaging about almost $2 million on 1.988. These are our, higher revenue months. So, and in comparison to last year, we have a higher ERC in this year than we did in last year. But we're also seeing our temperatures are comparable to what we've seen in 2022. This is our monthly cash comparison. So good news, we finally swung around to positive cash flow. So we had about 6 million in positive cash flow. We had a few months there we had negative cash flow. So over the next few months, we still anticipate hopefully to have positive cash flow as we move throughout the summer period. Our cash position, we were able to increase our days cash up to 67 days of cash. That is almost comparable to where we were a year ago. And our days, approximate days worth of expenses are around 625 to 675,000. As of this point, we still have had our KDHE reimbursement of about a little over 5 million still outstanding. We did receive that in August, so we'll be able to reflect that in our next presentation. This is just a historical of our days cash on hand. Getting up to 67 days. It's been since earlier this year that we were up to that level. So it's positive news that we're going back up. And then this is just the days cash on hand versus the change in cash. And so it represents the increases as well in both directions. Our balance sheet, our fuel inventory was about 10.4 million versus 3.4 million in 2022. That fuel inventory level is starting to go down. I think the last report we had about 52 days of coal on hand, so that's down considerably to where we were. Our bond dollars still have our 2016 C, trying to work through that to get that drawn down this year. The 2020A, we did do a drawdown in August, so that'll be reflective of that in this next month's financials. On our capital spending, so we have overall, so we have about a $61 million capital program. We have 62% of it remaining. Electric had about 30.7 million overall. They have spent about 14.1. Water has about 24.7 million and they've spent about 7.3 million. While Common has 5.2 million and they've spent about 1.8 million. Some of the major projects there, the Fisher underground feeders spent about 2.3 million. Our annual overhead and underground programs, we spent combined about 2.1 million. We continue with our distribution pole inspection program. It's almost $1 million. And then the power plant is I think almost complete on their burner coal nozzle replacement at 2.5 million. On the water side, just looking at the system improvements, the valves and leaks, they spent about 1.9 million, and then an Argentine tank replacement there is about 3.1 million. And looking at our debt coverage is pretty solid to date. With Pilot, we're about 2.85 times combined. Electric's 2.75, and then our water's 2.23. And then without Pilot, we're at a combined of 2.12, with electric at 2.01 times and water's at 1.75 times. Have any questions? Not had to ask for approval.
A motion for approval of the July 2023 financials.
This is Tom. I so move.
That's not a second motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Roll call, Mylan,
Aye.
Mulvaney Henry,
Aye.
Gonzalez,
Aye.
Groneman,
Aye.
Haley.
Aye.
That motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Maurice, if you can come back up. I know there was an earlier question about call planning the work session, and we've been working, and certainly questions at this board meeting has come up as well about what are we gonna do with Quinero, what are we gonna do with call. So we've been working towards that for pretty much most of the year, trying to get in a position to where we can at least see if we can go out and solicit some bids to determine what exactly do we do with those properties. So Maurice is gonna go through the process, bring us up to speed with where we are, and talk about next steps.
Good evening. My name is Maurice Moss, Executive Director of Corporate Compliance, and here before you again. So we're just going to jump right into it. Tonight I'll be presenting on BPU's former generating facilities, the current impact of those facilities, and the mitigation measures that we have already taken at those facilities and on the actual property. Next slide. So a little background about the plants, and call, we'll start there. It's located at the 18th Street and Kansas Avenue. It used to have 3 units there. We used to operate from, it was commissioned 1955 to 1962. We currently don't have any operations at that on that property. We do use that for more of a parking for our vegetation management contractor, but that's about it. We do have certain requirements that we do have to go in and check on certain transformers and stuff like that. And so there's some requirements there, but for the most part, we're no longer at that location. Quindaro, which is located in the Fairfax district, close to Highway 5 and Sunshine Road. We still have a footprint there. We have our CTs, CT 2 and 3 is still located there. You can see in the picture, if you look right in the middle, you see those 2 tanks. Just to the north of those 2 tanks is the actual our CTs. So we do have a footprint there, is still operating today. But if you go to the west right there, that is the area we're looking at to hopefully use for proposals or have some type of operations at that location. So for the most part, there's nothing happening there. We do have some carpenters and machine shop that's still occurring at that location, but we'll probably move that and consolidate some of those operations as we move forward. Next slide. So slide 3. So what's occurring down there? So you assume, let's take call, for example, if we have maintenance requirements. We do have current maintenance requirements at the call power plant. There are certain things we are required to do to still upkeep to make sure, number one, it's not a liability. So you do have things that occur after a big windstorm or something occurs that we have to go down there and basically kind of tape everything down, fix everything, and make sure it's, number one, it's not a liability to passing cars or anything like that. So we do have some maintenance requirements. It's not a lot, but it is an ongoing maintenance. It's something we have to take a look at. It's an attractive nuisance. It's the size of it, the historical use of it makes it attractive nuisance for people to, number one, theft. It has, a lot of stuff in there people want. It's one distinct, it has stacks still. You can see it from far away. It just becomes a very popular place for the transient crowd. They like to go there, kind of look through the areas and stuff like that. So it becomes just an issue from the standpoint of being an attractive nuisance. There's also ongoing environmental risk. So, if we were to sell or lease the property, our liability with that environmental risk doesn't really go away. However, we can mitigate and reduce our environmental risk if we were to sell it or lease it. And so there is some benefit of going through that process to make sure, number one, we reduce that environmental risk, and we're hopefully will have a limitation on what it looks like in the future. Safety risk. There's a ton of safety reasons that we just talked about. We still have to access the plant sometimes, and there's asbestos located in the plant still. Ingrid's team has done a great job of remediating some of the asbestos that's still located in there, but there's still asbestos. There's a lot of it. It's very expensive to remediate the entire, all of the asbestos. So it is something that's still in there. It does pose a risk as big storms pass through. They have high winds and the asbestos blows, and we have to go out there and have people pick it up and call a contractor to make sure we're disposing of it properly. Next slide. So security enhancements. So actually mitigation efforts. So what have we done in that locations and these locations to basically kind of mitigate some of our risk, but also to address some of the issues? Security enhancements, we have made a significant number of security enhancements in both locations to make sure, number one, if something is occurring, we don't necessarily have to send someone down there. We can see from the cameras or anything else. We have basically kind of fenced everything off, locked all the doors. One of the things about power plants is they were built for people to escape, right? You want people not to be trapped into a power plant. So there's a ton of doors that, are basically around the power plant. So we've been trying to lock those doors up to make sure, number one, we're trying to make sure people are not just roaming around, but also to make sure we have someone that needs to go into one of the plants, they're being safe and they know who's in there. Next is, I talked about that asbestos remediation. We have made several steps in remediating the actual asbestos that's at these two locations, and we'll continue as it goes, make small steps in that remediation, but it'd be great to have someone that partners with us or someone that completes the remediation altogether. And last is why I'm here tonight is to talk about requests for proposals. This is a mitigation effort. So before you can go to the next slide. Before we move to the step of demolition, that's where most utilities move to that next step of demolition and strap that cost to their customers. It's pretty significant cost to demo these type of locations. So instead of strap that cost, we decided to be a best approach to go with a request for proposals to see if there's interest in the property. We have had interest in the property from people wanting to visit, looking at it for probably as a place for their operations or their company. So we have had interest in the past. And so to make it more of a fair and process, we feel like this is that next step to put it out there and have a request for proposals. We're looking at sell or a lease of the property. We're kind of open on what that looks like. And so we feel like the more flexible we can be, the more options we'll get. And so as for a sale, as you're aware of, and Angela will tell you, that it has to go through the unified government. So they have to approve. So there has to be some coordination between the two if we do move down that path. So the request for proposal, RFP, I like to call it, it goes through Demand Star. Demand Star is what we use to basically push all our RFPs out there. We have contractors that sign up on our Demand Star, and then they're notified when it's something in their horizon that they do. And so when they get that notification, and then they'll be able to bid on the project or put forth a proposal. There's a 2-week minimum on Demand Star. We like to have it out there a little bit longer, and we'll probably use 2-week minimum. We'll probably have it out there for like a month to make sure we have enough people to have enough time to put together a proposal. We will have a site visits as well. So when the time comes, we'll have a site visit. They'll come and be able to look at the property, and we'll walk through the places that we can walk through safely. It will go through Wine.Echo, and hopefully there'll be a media push that we'll use to get the word out there as well. Next is our target date. We're looking at, hopefully, if everything goes as planned, that in July we'll be papering up a contract at that point in time with whoever the successful proposal that we like and we believe there's a benefit to the community, but also it basically remediates that risk that we have down there in those 2 locations. So this is that step 1. We're hoping we get someone. I believe we've had a lot of interest, and there's a lot of great ideas that's floating around the unified government and Wyandotte County. So I think we will get some great proposals. Question is, does it fit what we're looking for? And then number 2, does it really remediate or mitigate some of the risk that we have in those locations? So I think that's the big one. If it's someone moving in and just using it, and we still have that risk out there, I think it's something we need to take serious and look through those proposals. So I believe next one. And that's it. Do you have?
Can we, before questions, can we back up for a second?
Yes.
Mo, can you go back to the aerial shots? I mean, not Mo, Rob. Yeah, so if you look at calls on the, certainly our left, Quindero's on the right. And when you look at Quindero, you got the old power plant that Maurice has talked about, but further west, you have, to the other direction, you have what's left over from our old Quindero water treatment facilities. And so we are looking at that too. So it's not just the generation piece, it's also the remnants of the water treatment facility that's there. And what interest do we draw? I mean, that's why we're going to go out and kind of test the waters to see what's potentially is there. I mean, there are some things on the ground that we also need to be cautious and conscious of, but we're trying to approach this with as little out of pocket expense on the backs of this community and the utility as we can. And then part of that depending on what the price of raw materials and metals are. And, then that could hopefully attract somebody interest in taking the structures down, and then, they can sell off all the scrap metal to cover their costs. And I don't know, certainly haven't looked at that, but the other environmental risks down there that we'll have to somehow come to terms with, whether it's a lease or a purchase. I mean, that'll be something we'll flush out a little bit later as well. But in terms of the unified government, I don't see any concerns with them. I mean, this administration, the previous administration has also talked to me about, hey, is there something we can do with these properties to also turn it into a new enterprise where they can certainly generate new taxes. BPU can generate new revenue sources. And I said, yes, if we can get there, that'll be great for the community, because we do have some concerns about the coal plant. I don't want to go into a lot of detail here about some of the structural concerns that's down there too, but I think now is the right time for us to move forward with at least seeing what interest is out there. And then we'll certainly come back to the board with whatever we determine as we get closer to collecting any type of bids, and we'll be talking to you about all that. So I'll add that in.
At some point, and I don't remember exactly when, but when this was brought up some years back, there was an issue with something about the river with some sort of rights to the river or river rights. I was told that. Is that?
Come on up, Ingrid.
Mike.
Hi. So currently we do not have water rights for the CAW facility. So There also, as Jeremy brought to my attention, reminded me, is that the Army Corps of Engineers has been doing work on the levee there.
Mhm.
So with that, and our intake, our former intake at the call facility is, I think, no longer going to be functional. The river level there, if you all recall, or if you drive across the bridge, there's an island in the middle. And that's one of the reasons that we no longer operated that facility, is just because the water level, the river was going the other direction, and the water that was directed towards the facility was not enough to sustain production.
Okay,
There's
so
one
that's not an issue any longer, the water right thing.
So the water rights, we do not carry anymore. We don't hold those any longer.
Okay.
Really couldn't fire it up again at this point.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah.
Is there an operating substation there?
Yeah, but we have plans on retiring that substation. So there was a time a while back, we were looking at whether to convert that or not, but since we've expanded we built the Muncie substation just to the east. We've expanded the Barber substation, converted the 69 section to 161. We got a new switchgear coming there, so there's really no reason why that substation is going to be needed. And then the future plans are to build a speaker substation to the west, so we can pick up all the load from those other substations. Darren, if you want to add anything else to that?
Yeah, I was just gonna mention, we did go ahead with retiring that substation, so it's no longer active. We've basically bypassed it for now. Rerouted the transmission lines going to it, so as Bill mentioned, whenever we do the speaker project, we will do some other work on those transmission lines and reroute them again to kind of clean up that area, but for now, that's all out of service.
So,
Go ahead, David.
I just want to thank you for this. This has been an ongoing concern of mine. In fact, I appreciate it as Mr. Johnson, Bill Johnson knows. It's one of the issues that I raised immediately, especially when we look for revenue or additional revenue that we've needed to continue operations through our increases and what have you, is the utilization of that which we have in terms of these facilities. It's costly, as has just been represented, from everything from security to compliance and what have you, to keep these mothballed, except for a small part of Quindaro facilities going. So I'm excited by this. I don't know what's happened before. It's been referenced. This has been brought up before. I remember I represented somebody though who went out, a contractor who was interested in Quindaro. It had to be a dozen years ago. And we walked through that closed plant. And he said then, and I think he's still interested. I think he's looking for the RFP to come out too. And that's what brought it to my attention. And what I'm saying is this can't happen soon enough in terms of getting the RFP in place and bringing some of these parties to the table. And I guess my one question is, you mentioned that we know the sale of those would go through the UG, but the lease would not be hampered by UG oversight. So even if it's just a trial run, if they meet your specs or the board specs when they come through, just to get something going, generated to reverse the outlay of what we're having to expend and to bring some income in. I'm extremely excited that we finally have this in front of us.
So just to clarify, the UG would only sign off on the sale. BPU would be initiating the sale with the UG's approval. But all of my conversation thus far and will continue to be, any money we make off that property comes back to BPU. It does not go to the unified government.
Good.
So they would just be there to
bottom
sign
line.
off on the sale. Because based on the charter ordinance, they do have to approve it, just like they have to approve our bonds, just like they have a few other, one or two other things that they do. So, but BPU's maintained the Quindaro location for over 100 years. Okay, and with all the maintenance and all the capital construction build out, it's all come through BPU having to support these locations. Very little support from the unified government. The money should come back to BP. So.
So I was on the Quindaro plant myself and I went out there and, I thought, what a tremendous waste of energy and time. The lawn at the Quindaro plant is manicured. We have the crew out there taking care of it, and there's not anybody there. I mean, it's very well maintained. I don't know what the contract is to take care of the lawn at an empty plant, and it's de minimis, but it comes back, it's on the back of somebody there to do that. And that's probably one of a dozen or more other ongoing expenses that we have when the reverse should be true, that we're making something from the lease of that. So anyway, I appreciate it. Glad to see you here. Thank you.
Senator
Appreciate it.
Haley, I want to follow up too, just to kind of get understanding. I know Angela helped me with it as well. If we do have a lease, they still pay property taxes. So the unified government will still get taxes on that.
Yeah.
So it's still a benefit to the unified government. I just want to make that clear.
Well, I'm concerned about the bottom line for the ratepayers here that are paying the tab here. I mean, whatever ancillary revenues are derived for other entities like the UG or a secondary concern, if we've got something that we control, in this case, these two facilities, and they're just sitting there costing us, I just want to move in another direction and make whatever we can from that, even if it's a trial run through a lease to see if it's a fit, for a certain period of time as we just try to reverse the trend that it's been under now for a decade. How long has call been shut down?
Laurie, can you help me? 'Cause I know about
Finally about.
15, 20 years ago, we had a short-term contract with
Thank
Aquila before KCP&L
It's been
purchased.
about 20 years. So
20
about,
years,
I think,
okay.
closed down around 2001, 2002.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
Mary, did you have something?
Have we started conversations with the UG?
I've talked to the county administrator and the mayor about it. I haven't talked to the commissioners about it.
So we would be going through the county administrator probably
Yes,
as we talk and go forward?
yes.
Okay.
And there's been nothing from either, and even past administration. So Doug Bach and I had a conversation as well as Mayor Albee, and he had also sent a couple of guys our way. We looked at them, we talked to them. I think you guys are aware of what used to be called the Quindaro Technologies property plan that didn't materialize. Those two guys kind of parted ways and went off, and I'm not sure what their relationship is now, but that project probably will not resurface.
So,
Madam Chair.
so
Go ahead.
go ahead.
She's Madam Chair.
I'm waiting my turn. You're good.
Okay. Well, you.
No, go
you're
ahead,
back
David.
Clean up, right?
No,
Yeah,
you betcha.
All right, 'cause you're the
Gonna hit it
prerogative-
out of the
the
park,
prerogative of
too.
the chair. You always do. So I'm misunderstanding. You're running everything past the UG, but that's not necessary if it's a lease. It would only be if it's a sale. So the discussions that would or could be brought to the UG would be if there's an offer for the purchase. But if there's an offer for the lease, what input?
Well,
It's
so with the
necessary.
RFP, we're just trying to draw interest right now to see what's there. Okay, so we don't know if it's best for any prospective developer to come in and lease the properties or purchase the properties. Okay, and there's a lot of things that we have to have conversation around before they can make that determination. And really whether we can make that determination, or how we make that determination. So we're not clear as to which direction that option is out there for either property. And then we'll also have an option out there if somebody wants to buy both properties. Okay. I mean, that's certainly, it's been a conversation we've had with one developer, but again, that project is not there anymore. So I know that there's some other interest. And we've stated that I still need to follow one person to let them know, and I was gonna wait until we got closer to actually releasing the RP to say, hey, we're moving forward with this. If you're interested, then please apply. If you can't get access to Demand Star, let us know. We'll make sure we get you access to it. And so you'll have the ability to bid on the proposals that's out there.
All right, thanks. Thank you. Madam President.
Any other board members have anything before I ask a couple questions? Some of my questions have been answered based on other questions, so that's good. One question I have, will this RFP be similar to other RFPs that we issue in that Wyandotte County developers and or Wyandotte County businesses would have preference?
Currently as written, no, there's no preference for those entities. However, we have talked about how to get it in their hands, if that makes sense, and make sure they're aware of it, but there's no
Mhm.
preference located in the RFP for that.
Because it does sound like we've talked to some folks. Right?
Yes. We've had some people interested in it. It's been kind of random. Just
Have they
people-
come to BPU or have they come to the unified government?
BPU mostly, but
They've come both. Both.
Okay. All right. But, I was gonna recommend, but I think I'm going to have to insist, Mr. Johnson, that there is a memorandum of understanding in place between this Board of Public Utilities and the Unified Government regarding revenues from sale, revenues from lease.
Yep.
And that we not do a handshake deal on that.
Yep, I agree. I agree. That will definitely be needed, but also, I think all of our interest here is what can we possibly do with these locations that's gonna benefit our community, in terms of not just providing revenue, but also, can these two properties generate enough jobs for our community, and then, what can we do to help assist in that effort and then, not just something temporary, but hopefully it'll turn into something that'll be here for quite some time, many decades to come, so.
Okay. That's all I had, Maurice. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks for that suggestion or that directive.
It was past a recommendation. Condition. Thank you.
That condition.
In the past for sales, what usually goes before the UG when the BPU has sold property is, resolution authorizing the county administrator to make the sale or to sign off on the sale, with the particulars in it. And usually in that document, I believe in the past it said that proceeds go to the UG.
Well, as
Or to
acting
BPU,
chief
to BPU.
counsel of
So,
all the
yes,
things,
of all the things.
I know that you're well versed in what BPU is looking for from this, Angela.
Yes, message has been received.
Thank you.
All right, so miscellaneous comments. First I'll just remind the board, I think 3 of you have contacted Chris, to let her know that you'd be interested in the KCK CC groundbreaking this Friday, 10 o'clock. Across the street, I think, Chris. Down the street, okay, so that's the new junior college campus. Be good to see that project start and hopefully finish. Just thinking about the students that was here today, I can only imagine seeing students coming in later from some of the areas that hopefully this downtown campus will attract, and they'll come in here and start talking about how well and of an investment that was into this part of our city. Also, I'll be sending out a revised budget calendar, so I've gotten questions around staffing. So what we're going to do is break that out as a separate conversation. We did combine that with purchase power and fuel, I believe, and this was the first year we've combined that, so I think it'll be best to just to separate them again and just make that conversation a standalone conversation. So I'll get that out in the morning to you. And then finally, Rose, I know you were copied. I don't know if you had a chance to read your emails from Commissioner Bynum. It looks like they're still moving forward on a pilot relief in some form or fashion. I'm not sure. There's not a lot of detail here. Angie, if you want to.
So yes, there was an extra budget hearing added. It was supposed to be for tomorrow night and it was moved up to tonight. They're already finished. I think it went from 5 to 6:15. And so I'm not sure what was, because I was here, not sure what was discussed, but I know there had been, Bynum still had interest in discussing that further. But I don't know, the extent of that interest. A change in the pilot to break out residential from the other categories is a charter change, so it would take there's a significant amount of time just with the notice requirements for the protest petition, and it takes 2 publications. So would be, a January 1 implementation may not be, if they choose to go that way, that may be cutting it very, very close, but I don't know what the rest of the board.
So was that in their budget meet? I knew they had a meeting tonight. That was the discussion.
I believe that was going to be the discussion, yes, would be to, and if it was across the board lowering, then they can do that, that can be done at the time of the budget. It's when they separate that's, the ordinance doesn't support that yet. But an across the board reduction could be done at the time of budget adoption.
So across the board reduction, from my understanding, it'd be better for us. Now, if they're gonna do
Easier.
something different, the one reason I wanted to get this out, and I did send it to Lori and Janetta and Jerry, is just to give them a heads up that this may be coming down the pike, depending on how this gets approved by the commission, then, and if it's not across the board reduction, then we'll certainly have to reconfigure our system to be able to support that. And we've got a lot of projects going on now with the in the meter to cash area with the billing system, the MDM, the AMI system, and then to put this in with it. I just wanted to make sure that they have a head start and understanding that this still may be rolling their way. And if it's going to start January 1st, that we at least understand the mechanics on how they're going to actually roll it out, and then what do we have to do to make sure our system support it. So, and then also letting the board know that at least this is still something that they're working on doing. And also in the email, she's also said that she had volunteered to convene a group to talk about separating the bills. But she's kind of backed off of that because I have been having conversation with David Johnston, the county administrator, on how do we work through those mechanics in order to make that happen. So we do have a follow-up meeting coming to try to flush through all of that. So.
Well, I had not had an opportunity to review my 3:25 PM email as I completed my day job duties to come to this evening's meetings. So thank you. But on the last part of that, about the separation, of the charges or the bills or whatever we're calling it at this point. Do you have an ETA on when you and Mr. Johnston might be able to?
Our last conversation was, he said, give him time to meet with staff and come back in 2 months and let me know what that plan is. So, and that meeting took place about either 2 or 3 weeks ago. I have to look at my calendar.
Okay.
Rose, do you remember just ballpark the number that decrease for just residential would be? The
For-
monetary,
Just residential?
yeah, there was.
In my
another-
head, I have 2.3 million, but that actually may be high.
I feel like-
Could be Yeah, I don't
Remember
recall.
that number?
Sorry.
That, the number that would decrease with the residential only. I remember it being passed around, but I can't remember the
I know
amount.
there was a PowerPoint. I don't have that.
Yeah, I don't remember
let
the number
Lori-
exactly, but in their budget meetings, they talked about the increase from our rating, the increased pilot from our rate increase, which was estimated to be about 750,000. That they have taken that as a reduction in their pilot. And so I'm thinking that 750 is kind of representative of the pilot relief that they are anticipating.
Okay, that seems low. But
Let me try to clarify that with the Commissioner.
yeah, I just remember in that presentation, they gave a number, but I can't recall.
They said there was gonna be like a windfall of between $500,000 and $750,000.
From our rates.
From our rate.
From our
Right.
increase.
Right, and so they weren't adding that 750,000 to their pilot revenue. They were gonna take it as an
Reduce.
expense
Okay.
to where their pilot amount wouldn't increase, but they would. I'm gonna say donate, probably not the right word, but use that extra money to fund the pilot relief
It's going down 1%.
or to offset. the
Well,
pilot
I
relief.
found the chart and
How much was?
shockingly, it literally says residential pilot relief, $2 million annually.
That's what I thought.
That's by reducing it 1%
That was too.
per year
That's what I thought too.
to get down to 6.
50's not gonna really. do
Was
it.
that $2 million prior to the BPU rate increase? Was
Yeah.
that where we started?
I think that
Yes,
was.
That was prior.
That's
to.
correct.
Yeah.
Right, so now they're picking up 700,000 additional windfall. So I guess the question is, what happens with that money? So.
Got to pay for everything, Bill.
And next Thursday, the budget is set for adoption, so they, I don't know if they'll vote on, I know they'll vote and they'll have to approve one version, but there may be several there for them, but it has to, with the deadlines and, to give staff time to make the proper notifications that are required to the state. Next Thursday is sort of the drop dead date for that.
I need one more clarification. That was 1% across the board. That wasn't the homestead group. That was 1% residential across the board.
The homestead one, those are rebates. So those are handled through the unified government and they don't come off the bills. They are handled as a rebate.
Okay, thanks.
So the pilot reduction that I remember, and correct me if I'm wrong, was low income, seniors and veterans, if I remember correctly.
Disabled.
And disabled, right? So thank you.
And I'm not sure if veterans were in the final
Okay.
version or not, but that was the group that
Okay.
the low income and.
The proposal that she sent over, the targeted population was age 65, income of 37,750 annually or lower, and disabled, but it says et cetera. So I don't know if veterans are included.
Okay.
Right. Thanks, Commissioner Bynum.
And I can find the answer I can send everyone the changes because they've been adopted.
That would be awesome.
There's no other questions, just wraps up my comment section for tonight.
Alrighty, we'll move to board comments. Senator Haley.
Back in rotation. Right.
Well, I decided,
yeah,
you
right.
made it change up for the votes, but why do we change it up for just comments?
It's your show, Madam President. Just glad to be a part of the retinue. I actually have no comments. I do appreciate the presentation again, especially excited about the RFPs, looking at the facilities, and getting up to date on our financials. And Have no
I have-
comments.
I have no comments, no additional comments.
Thank you. Mr. Mylan, do you have any comments this evening?
Yes, I have.
Okay,
First of all, I want to recognize the importance of the young people that lived here a few minutes ago, the 2020 program. I say that because I have a couple of questions. I'm looking at the report here tonight. I hope most of you can see a copy of this, but those graduates finish out of that program 100%. Here's evidence right here from that program out of high school. Mr. Green, tell me how many engineers you have that works in the water department currently?
I didn't hear the question.
How many employees you have, engineers that work in your department?
How many engineers?
Yeah.
So we have Chris, Jenny, Philip, Brandon, and Aaron.
Okay.
5 engineers and 2 associate
Okay.
engineers.
Tell me, what school did 3 or 4 of us go to, high school?
What school?
Yeah.
Our last 3 engineers we've hired are Sumner Academy.
Did you hear that? That high school? That's how important that program is, folks. Miss Attorney, what high school did you attend?
Sumner Academy.
That's how that program. I'm just telling you too, folks. That program, under Milton Austin, and me and Gary Gravel, president of the bank here, had a luncheon at Applebee's. He had no idea that Marilyn worked for me. And her idea was to have this program at a high school. I was fortunate enough to bring that to the board, and the board approved that initially at $20,000 a year to start that program. I'm just telling you the truth, how important that high school program has a bearing on the board here, the Board of Utility, attorney, and 3 engineers. Isn't that a blessing? That came from this board, not me, the board approved that. That's my comment, making sure we recognize our local schools have provided some valuable employees to the Board of Public Utilities, engineers, and attorney. Thank you very much, Steve.
thank you, Mr. Mylan. Mrs. Gonzalez?
Well, when my 2 younger sons also went through the leadership program, and it was just Wyandotte County at that point, and they also went to Sumner Academy. They don't work for the utility, but it's a great program for leadership, and our continued support of it just is paramount to me. Thank you. And Maurice, thank you and your team for your presentation tonight. I remember at the very beginning of our compliance and our SIP audit and all of that. And let me just say, I think we've come a million miles. Thank you for your leadership and your presentation. And Ingrid, thank you.
Thank you. I don't have any comments this evening. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I second that motion. I'll make the first motion.
Yes, that's
And
right.
I'll second.
Motion to adjourn has been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Roll call, Mylan,
Aye.
Mulvaney Henry,
Aye.
Gonzalez,
Aye.
Groneman,
Aye.
Haley.
Aye.
That motion carries. This meeting is adjourned.